Jackson on the drive, kicks it out for man. Man, three-pointer, bang! Oh, what a man!
Magic down the middle, just what I thought. A hook shot at 12, good!
Here's Michael at the foul line, a shot on Elo, good! The Bulls win! They win it!
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ,
Going up over Bell, ball away. Yes! Yes! At the buzzer, he does it! Was there ever a doubt? A Smith screen, Posey will defend. Oh! LeBron James with no regard for human life. It's a physical game. Oh, man, oh, my. A monster jam by Blake Griffin.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another post-game live here on Dime Dropper for the final time of the 2024 NBA season. So my live's been crashing the last couple of days because my computer's just been so hot. So let me know how the sound's coming in right now. I'm just doing it on my phone. The picture should be amazing, but the sound, I don't know. But this is the last live of the season, and I just had to get it off some way, shape, or form. Apologies that this is a bad look, man. In years from now, we're going to look at the last live of an NBA season. Talking about the Boston Celtics, the team of my, my second home of Massachusetts, where I went to college, winning the championship, and here I am doing the final live on my phone with whack ass presentation. But let me know how it's coming in. Is the sound coming in okay? This is the final live of the season, so you know the drill. Before we get started, you already know what to do. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube at Dime Dropper. Hit the notification bell so you know every single time we post a video. And this summer we'll be bringing in content, whether it's Copa America, whether it's NBA history, whether it's off-season content. It'll all be coming right here. WNBA as well, right here on Dime Dropper. So you never know. There's no off-season for us over here. We going strong. 4 years recently, by the way, the anniversary. But we are live from Los Angeles for the final time this evening. Our final live of what's been season 4 of Dime Dropper in full. And this is a special night. This is truly a special night. The Boston Celtics are the champs. And that didn't have much significance to me 7 years ago, but then I went to UMass and I was around that community for 3 years. All my friends are Celtics fans over there, and they're very different than Laker fans. Not as arrogant about the Celtics because they haven't seen as much success as the Laker fans have in our time. But it's getting close. If they win one more ring, we can start talking, because that would be 3 rings in my. Well, here's the thing. The Lakers have won 6 rings in my lifetime. Boston has only won 2. But the Laker fans my age were pretty young for Shaq and Kobe. So they really just remember those 2 rings back to back and then the bubble ring. Celtics now have won 2 championships the last 15 or so years, 16 years. So it's really 17 years. But yeah, my point is they weren't as, arrogant, but they were arrogant about Boston sports. It's been a 5-year drought, but they're back on top. And it was something that was interesting was I would ask all my friends over in Massachusetts, if you had to choose one Boston team out of those big 4 teams to win the next title, which one would it be? And they all said Celtics, because a lot of them were like, it's been the longest drought of all the teams. And a lot of them weren't even old enough to really remember that '08 Celtics team that I remember so vividly. So congrats to them, all those people that are really experiencing this for the first time. But there's a lot of Celtics fans that are not experiencing this for the first time. This does not feel as sentimental for me. Like, even though it is a big deal that the Celtics finally won the championship. And when I say finally, it's like, yeah, the 16 years since Garnett and Pierce and all them. But the Jays, this has been a journey for them. And it's been amazing. I was literally in Massachusetts for the beginning of Jayson Tatum's career. I started this podcast by being a Clippers, Lakers, and Celtics show. But then I realized that, it was just too hard for me, to have the third team in there, and it's not local. And yeah, my Massachusetts people, shout out to all you guys, man, even though I don't get as much feedback from the Massachusetts crowd as I would like, but appreciate all you guys, man. If you are listening to this, my Minutemen, my Minutewomen, shout out to you. You haven't won a championship in the Dime Dropper era, so this is truly special. I'm going to talk about all that. We're also going to be talking about the way the game went. And because my computer's shut down right now, I'm not taking a look at my notes. Although I'm not taking a look at my notes right now. But I'll just say this. This game was a lot like the rest of the series. Both teams were switching everything. And if you're going to play a switch everything game with the Boston Celtics, you're not gonna win. They have four guys, five when you count Porzingis, who was playing tonight, that you can give the ball to and say, "Get me something." The Mavericks have two, and tonight those two guys, just like the other games in Boston, although Luka did have some decent games in Boston, but they weren't good enough. They weren't good enough at all. From the jump, really, from the jump, it was Kyrie Irving and Luka ISO, heliocentric, doing all that thing. But hold on one sec, just moving the camera. Sorry if you're listening on audio, I apologize for the choppiness of this live. But I got to get something out, right? The show must go on. The Celtics, let me pull up my notes. Yeah, Luka and Kyrie got off to a slow start. I thought somebody that did a great job setting a tone early was my boy Drew Holiday. In the role, he was making things happen. The Mavs were switching everything, but in that split second, where as the screener, you get a chance to roll with some space. The Celtics were doing a good job of finding Drew Holiday, and he was making plays, whether it be an extra pass or finishing at the rim. I mean, the off-ball utility of Drew Holiday, whether it be as a spacer, whether it be in the dunker spot where he would find openings and find places to go to be available for a pass underneath the basket, screen setting. He was so spectacular in an off ball role throughout this postseason and then crashing the offensive glass. I mean, I don't need to keep exaggerating what Drew Holiday does because I always talk about it. I've always preached it. He is one of my favorite players in the league, UCLA, Campbell Hall, and a two-time champion. This is why I wanted him on the Clippers so bad. I wanted him so badly because we'd have a team full of dogs and we'd have a guy that's willing to guard the best player on the other team, and Kawhi and Paul George wouldn't have had to do that. But of course, the Boston Celtics fucking get him. I mean, it's rough to see. And then I had people coming at me saying, "I can't believe you wanted Drew over Harden." Like, it's all right. James Harden has no rings still. Clippers didn't get out of the first round, and Drew Holiday has two rings. Now I know what people are gonna say. Hey, but it's about Kawhi and this and that. I don't give a shit about your context. Drew Holiday has two rings. Drew Holiday has two rings. Let me say that again. Drew Holiday has two rings with two different teams, and he earned it. And it was exactly the same situation. A team that was knocking on the door, but they couldn't get over the hump. First year with Drew Holiday, the Bucks get a ring. Same thing happens here. Lesser rule, but Porzingis was out like the whole playoffs, basically. So he was really the third best player, or fourth at worst. I think after the finals, the last two rounds, I think Holiday was better than White. Come on, man. Come on. Give him that credit. And then how about Al Horford? We talked about before the series. Is Luka Doncic Are Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving going to be able to exploit Al Horford in pick and roll? And the answer was no. Al Horford stood his ground, held his own the entire series. The entire series. He moved his feet, and yeah, Luka is not the quickest guy in the world that's going to always get the step, but he's still shifty. He's still one of the best scorers we have in the league. And for Al Horford to be able to stay in front and still force him into tough shots, it's just amazing. Somebody who you cannot blame at all for the loss if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan tonight is Josh Green. He had 2 threes in the first quarter, and the Mavericks, they generated 12 3-point attempts in that first quarter. And a lot of them were good looks, but they just didn't fall. Josh Green made 2 out of the 3 made threes in that quarter for the Mavs. The only other one was Dante Exum. But Kyrie Irving, 0 points in the first quarter. 0 for 3. Luka Doncic, 5 points and 2 turnovers on 2 for 6 shooting in the first. So I don't think either of them were good enough. As far as the other side, you did have the return of KP, Kristaps Porzingis, and Jayson Tatum was still taking some bad shots in my opinion in the first quarter. But overall, the Jays were in complete attack mode throughout the game, constantly showing that they were not going to let this opportunity slip past them. They were so determined tonight. I mean, everyone on the team was determined tonight. You saw Al Horford diving for loose balls. You saw Derek White losing teeth. I mean, the Jays constantly putting pressure on the defense, and they wanted it. And you could feel the experience. I know the talent was the most obvious reason why they won. They were a more talented team. but the having been there, done that, this Celtics team just didn't feel like the others. And you can say Porzingis and Drew Holiday all you want, but Porzingis missed a lot of games. Drew Holiday, absolutely. And if you want to keep praising Drew Holiday, I'm all for that. But there's the maturation and experience of being there and having lost 2 years ago and having lost in the conference finals last year in game 7. That matters. And Mike Breen harped on it a lot. And someone like Breen, he's seen these championship teams. He's had the best seat in the house for a lot of these rings. For a lot of these rings. And he doesn't it's people just love to talk about stats and like the x's and o's and make everything seem like it's a calculated game and stuff like that, like the emotions and literal intangible things, experience, these things that you can't quantify in a number. Those things matter in team sports because you're dealing with real human beings. You're not dealing with characters in a video game. And the thing is, it's Jerry West. Shout out to him. I know it's very sad the timing of me saying this, but one thing I'll remember that he said to all of us when we were, in his presence was that he doesn't buy the analytics too much because there's no stat for here and here. And that's true. And there's a lot more there's no stat for. Experience matters. And I'm not saying that's the main reason the Celtics won. I think the talent was the main reason the Celtics won, but that absolutely made a difference. The PJ Washingtons, the Derek Jones, these guys they've never been in the finals. Al Horford, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, these guys were just there. Drew Holiday's won a championship. And it was fitting that in the first quarter, it was Drew and Al Horford that kind of set the tone. Jaylen Brown, by the way, and Tatum, they each played the entire first quarter, and they had 10 points apiece in the first. And Drew Holiday, I'm sorry, no, I was looking at the plus minus, Jesus Christ. They both played the entire first quarter, though. Jaylen Brown had 6 points in the first. Jayson Tatum had 4 points in the first, but they had a combined 15 shot attempts in the first quarter. So they came out letting it fly. Now, second quarter, Tatum really started to impose his will on the game, getting to the rim left and right. And again, I still think there were times where he's working way too hard to score against guys that he shouldn't be working so hard to score against. Just make one or two moves and blow by, force him to play defense without fouling, then have one counter. But he's doing all these dribble moves at the top. But eventually, there were times where he got by Maxi Kleba. He took Derek Lively to the rim. And one thing that Jayson Tatum just didn't get enough credit for this series because of his poor shooting was that if you had to pick any player in the series, including Dallas players, to draw a second defender and attract help and find the open man, I think Jayson Tatum might have done that more than anyone because I think he consistently beat his man more than Luka did or Kyrie Irving did. And the Dallas Mavericks just show it help harder than the Boston Celtics do. I think definitely one of Missoula's strategies was let's make Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving play a ton of one-on-one basketball against some of the best one-on-one defenders in the league. And we don't really got weak links like that. And tonight, short leash. I mean, he didn't really play guys like that. Peyton Pritchard didn't really play like that. We'll talk about Peyton Pritchard in a second, though, and the shot he had that is going to be remembered forever. But Jayson Tatum was getting to the rim, creating good shots, had a couple of and ones. But I'll tell you one thing. In the first half, the Mavs made some timely shots just to kind of stay within striking distance. But the C's, man, they just weren't going to be denied. And with that atmosphere tonight, this was the first time the Celtics had a chance to close out a championship at home since Game 6 when they won against the Lakers. And it's tough to win closeout games on the road. It truly is. Or to prevent a team from closing out, I should say, on the road, especially Boston winning Banner 18. Like we've been hearing about Banner 18 since 2009. So it was special, man. It was going to be so hard for them to win. A lot of things had to go right, and they didn't. And it starts with their two best players. Luka Doncic, I mean, just so many moments of horrific body language. Horrific. Like just not paying attention after a switch where he's just waiting to help and just completely losing sight of his man, not boxing out. I know he got a couple of rebounds tonight, a decent chunk of rebounds, but there were so many times he was just ball watching and not putting a body on White or Holiday. I mean, there was one possession where the Celtics ended up missing like 3 layups, but he was just standing around watching. Any 50-50 ball, he was not going to get. And they did attack him relentlessly. And I have to say, I think Luka's one-on-one defense was better tonight. But there's a lot of things that Luka Doncic is going to have to improve on before he gets to a championship as the number one option, clear cut. I think he did not have the best team. I think he still is the best player in this matchup. I think of these teams, he is the best player, but he's got to get better defensively. He's got to be just a better leader in terms of not in the communication stuff. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. It seems like everybody likes him, but his body language as a number one option is to me just not acceptable. Like the way he pouts so much, the way there was just moments where he was just ball watching so much. I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, and then the offense. It seems like the Maverick players, the Derek Jones, the Kyrie Irving, the PJ Washingtons, they want to Josh Green. They want to get out and run a little bit more. And that's been a theme of the Dallas Mavericks this season is that they've played faster than any Mavericks team in the Luka era. But the one guy that doesn't want to play fast like that, because he's not really that fast of a player, is Luka. And I just felt as though throughout this series, remember when I said every single flaw you have gets exposed in the playoffs? Luka just completely slows things down. He's a ball dominator. He doesn't move the ball much. He's an amazing passer, but he does not move the ball for the sake of it a lot. There were again, I'm so happy that he got crushed like this because they really tried to say he was better than Bird. You know, there were so many times tonight where the Mavericks get a rebound and Luka, he's bringing it up. There's a guy up ahead of the floor that he can throw it ahead to, but it's a Derek Jones, it's a PJ Washington, and you're making them do something. So it might not be the smartest decision in the world, but that's one thing that Larry Bird is one of the best of all time at. Get the rebound, look to throw it, and look to push. Luka, I don't know if Luka Doncic has ever looked to push. I mean, I'm obviously being sarcastic, I'm exaggerating, but my thing is, the reason why Dallas was working against the set defense all the time is not because they couldn't really get stops. They got a lot of stops throughout the series. They held Jayson Tatum to awful shooting games. They held Jaylen Brown to some so-so shooting games. They had a hard time scoring. They had a hard time getting to the paint and getting the Celtics defense in rotation. It was a lot of one-on-one. It was a lot of ISO. That was the intention of the Celtic defense. And again, when it comes to Luka, like it's a lot of the modern fans. It's a lot of people that have started watching basketball in the last 20 years that didn't go. See, I used to be just like you. I used to be just like you and saying, like, why should he pass to that guy? Why should he make that pass? Why should he should ball pound like crazy? You know, he should do whatever it takes to get a good shot. There were times where Kyrie Irving was getting loaded up off and he didn't pass. And I know Kyrie was bricking. I just think you're not like don't like if this style doesn't win a championship, stop blaming everyone else. Like I'm not saying Luka should get the least blame of everybody, but you Kobe said it, man. He's fucking said it. That style of play is just not conducive to winning chips. Winning chips. You can go very far doing it. And here's the crazy part. I still think Luka's going to win a chip playing this way. But I think there's certain things he needs to clean up. And I think he plays a little too slow. That doesn't mean he's going to all of a sudden get a bunch of bursts. But the thing is, in terms of the pace of a game, maybe moving the ball quicker, making quicker decisions, not dribbling so much. There were some times in this game, there was one time where I actually clapped for Luka, and I'm rooting for Boston, mind you, where he threw the ball to I forget who, and immediately came off a dribble handoff and popped a three. And I was like, and there was another time where Kyrie had the ball, fed it to Luka on the wing, and he attacked and scored. And I was like, he can make it a little bit easier for himself than choosing to do what he always does. He's got Kyrie Irving for a reason. I understand Kyrie Irving has kind of become this shooting guard lately, but it's not like Kyrie's incapable of bringing the ball up. I just think Luka's gonna have to learn a lot, and a lot of it's like just the way the extra effort stuff is just not there, in my opinion, from Luka. It's a lot of yes. I see the comments about James Harden. I'm not gonna say it, but it's very implied. A lot of the negative and positive characteristics that he has, James Harden shares with him. And so there should be no secret why I'm being harsh on Luka. That heliocentric ball, I'm so fucking happy Dallas didn't win the championship for multiple reasons. And let me just say this to all my Mavericks fans that are gonna probably one are not listening to this because they just don't want to hear the losing stuff, are gonna say that I'm turning on them and whatnot. I am calling the games how it is. I gave you praise when it was deserved, and you just got your asses handed to you 4-1. I'm a Clipper fan. I love the game of basketball. I don't like the Dallas Mavericks. I was giving you credit because I care more about what I believe is the honest truth. And I don't think that the way Luka Doncic plays is easy to win championships. I don't think it's impossible to win that way because of how talented he is, how big he is. That's really what it is. But you know what this Dallas Mavericks team made me do? it made me appreciate the 2016 Cavs a lot more because of how special Kyrie Irving played and how great LeBron James was on both ends of the floor. Luka can't replicate what LeBron did on defense. That help defense is just what LeBron does as an athlete. The amount of times he got into the paint, the downhill rim pressure that he puts on. That's one of the most spectacular titles ever, and we already knew that. But I think it's only aging better because it's very hard for one or two guys to create every fucking shot down the court and win a championship against teams that move the ball. And I'm not saying the Celtics were this incredible offensive ball movement. They were not. They literally just played one-on-one and just created more advantages than them. But the thing was, they have some interesting concepts. They have 2 5-out centers. They're a guard in the dunker spot. Their guards can be screen setters, and all of them can really work without the ball fairly decently. So, they have a bunch of good players. So it's not like one or two guys are forced to create everything. So again, that style of play is gonna be very hard to win with. And then, by the way, let's just keep talking about the game. Al Horford was so good. His defense, his switching. There was one point in the game where he wasn't switching in this late second quarter, but let's read some of the second quarter stats. Derek Jones had 8 points in the second. Kyrie Irving had just 5. Luka Doncic had just 4. So a combined 9 points in the second quarter for them. Jayson Tatum had 12 in the second on 4 for 4 shooting and 5 assists in the quarter. Jaylen Brown had 9 in the quarter. So, and then at halftime. So, by the way, it looks like Dallas is like making a little bit of a push towards the end of the second quarter. And then Peyton Pritchard comes out of the game out of nowhere. And you know exactly why he's in for that last second heave. He's clearly a specialist in that. He comes in cold off the bench and hits that shot. And that's when you knew this was the Celtics night. What a shot. I mean, that's amazing. But also, you got to give Joe Mazzulla credit, man. Joe Mazzulla, for all the criticism we talked about last year, they play soft. They don't look like the same team after Udoka. He just keeps talking about offense and threes. He really coached a great season all the way throughout. He's a hell of a young coach. I'm not a huge fan of his personality. He just seems like he's just too serious of a guy, but he was a little bit more pleasant after the championship ceremony. But shout out to him, man. Youngest coach. He's really the youngest coach ever, if we really talk about it. I mean, Bill Russell was a player coach. That's not a thing anymore. So he's really the youngest coach, like on the sidelines ever in the history of basketball. So, and he won in his second year. Of course, he inherited a great team, but it's not easy being a coach of a team with such expectations. It really isn't. And I got to give him a lot of credit, man. He got the most out of this team, and there's never really been a team. So second half, man, they just kind of they blew it wide open. Dallas weathered the storm for a bit, but it was just not enough. And I mean, the Celtics got every offensive rebound. That was huge. Derek White, the timeliness of that guy's threes throughout the playoffs was just amazing. It felt like every time Dallas would get close to maybe cutting it down, he would do something. And then Jayson Tatum, you can make an argument he was trying to stat pad for Finals MVP. It didn't work, but man, he was dominant in this game. 2 feet in the paint constantly. He had that amazing block on a dunk. I think it was Derek Jones that tried to dunk, but I could be wrong. Constantly getting 2 feet in the paint. And one thing that's really improved about Tatum every season, and this season you saw it at its best, is his passing ability. He's not a point forward to me. He's still a score first wing that's a solid passer, just like Kawhi or Paul George, but he consistently got better at passing the ball. The Celtics ran away with it, and by the fourth quarter, it wasn't even a contest. The score at halftime, the Celtics were up 46-67. In the third quarter, Kyrie Irving had just 4 points on 1 of 4 shooting. Luka Doncic had 9 points. It played every minute of the third quarter. No assists. Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum combined for 2 for 12 in the third. That's the funny part. The Mavericks outscored them 21-19. That's the thing, right? The Mavericks held the Celtics to 29% shooting in the third quarter, and they did not really take advantage of it. And that was their chance. That was their chance. But again, it's all with the defense in front of you, set defense. Kyrie Irving is not getting any easy shots. And it was exactly like 2022. It was just the Celtics just have great perimeter defenders. And Kyrie Irving just couldn't get downhill like that. He got his contested shot off. He can still get his shot off, but they weren't very clean looks. And it's just hard having that much scoring responsibility at that size, which makes me appreciate what he did against Golden State all those years ago that much more. But the Celtics do it. It is all over. They win it 106-88 to win the series in 5. Before we read the lines, actually, let's read the lines first, and then we'll just get into the overall summary. The Mavericks shot 45% from the field and 30% from three. The Celtics shot 43% from the field and 33% from three. So they didn't even shoot that well, but a lot of that could be fourth quarter nonsense. Man, who's there to talk about? Tim Hardaway Jr. got some burn, had a donut and shot 1-3. Dante Exum, 4 points on 1-for-1 shooting in 9 minutes. Josh Green, 14 points, 5 for 8 from the field and 4 for 6 from three. Can't blame Josh Green. Can't blame Josh Green. And then Derek Lively, man, he was completely neutralized in this series because of the Celtics' ability to switch everything. And yeah, the Celtics' ability to switch everything changed a lot because now you don't have that lob because they're not playing drop coverage. So Derek Lively just had 2 points and 4 rebounds on 1-for-2 shooting. Maxi Kleba, he did not look himself when he came back. He was getting it taken advantage of defensively, and he didn't have any lift on his shot. 2 points, not the same Maxi Kleba the Clippers saw. 2 points, 3 rebounds on 1-for-3 shooting and 0-for-2 from three. And then the starters, Derek Jones Jr., 10 points on 4-for-8 shooting, 1-for-4 from three in 22 minutes. Here's what I have to say about Derek Jones Jr. It was the best season of his career. He really did a great job of making a bigger name for himself. I don't really know the contract situation for him right now, and I'm not going to check, but they absolutely should try to bring him back. Is he a bench player, though, on a championship team? Is he good enough offensively? Maybe not. That's a discussion for Mavs fans to have. PJ Washington, I mean, what an amazing turnaround of a season for him, coming from Charlotte that was in the cellar, and now he's in the finals. He was such a big part, probably the third best player on this team throughout the playoffs, and he's going to be back next season for sure, but he has to be created for, right? You have only 2 shot creators on the team, and they need somebody that can come off the bench and help them a little bit. Like a Spencer Dinwiddie would have actually been great for this team. PJ Washington, 4 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 4 turnovers on 2-for-7 shooting and 0-for-5 from three. Daniel Gafford, same thing as Lively. They took away the lob for the switch everything, and so then he wasn't really a factor. 6 points, 3 rebounds on 3-for-5 shooting in 11 minutes. And then the 2 big boys, Kyrie Irving, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists. He did have some good passes on 5-for-16 shooting and 3-for-9 from three. Kyrie Irving was nowhere near good enough in this series. I think he was good in games 3 and 4, but in games 1, 2, and 5, he was not good at all. He couldn't win in Boston. He stepped on that logo, and he paid the price. The thing with Kyrie is he's such a generational player, but he's still just a 6'2" guy whose best attribute is scoring. And he's not the quickest anymore. So he's not getting by his guy frequently enough. So a lot of his diet is just amazing jump shots and floaters and just contested stuff. He's a great player. Can he still win a championship as a second option? I believe he probably can. Luka's gonna have, but he can't play like that. He was not good enough. He might need some more help, but he just wasn't good enough. He has to be held accountable for that. But he had a great season. I mean, making it to the finals as a second option and is not easy. So for the Mavs, yeah, I mean, Kyrie Irving's in his prime. He's in the twilight of his prime. Run it back. Luka. His stats look better than the performance was. 28 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 7 turnovers on 12-for-25 shooting, 2-for-9 from three, and 2-for-5 from the foul line. So let's just start with the free throws. Poor all series. The 3-ball was also poor all series. You can say he was injured and whatnot, but again, he plays well and he's not injured. And it's like you can't do the win-win situation thing. You can't say that if he plays well, he's playing through injuries, the greatest thing ever. And then when he's not playing well, he's injured. That's just not how it works. Luka plays too much with the defense in front of him. He ball pounds too much. He doesn't play with any. The pace is just too slow. It's always playing with the defense in front, and eventually, that's not going to be good enough. His body language is awful when things don't go his way. He bitches and complains with the refs way too much. He doesn't move without the ball at all. He needs to get better off the ball. He needs to lean into the post game more and his size more, and try to come off the ball a little bit. Come off a screen here and there. It's too much. It's too much on ball. and it's going to be very hard to win that way. He can, but he's got to be a little better off ball. He's not going to cut really anytime, so like he's got to try to get the ball on the perimeter in a little bit more creative ways. And that comes with him expanding his off-ball toolbox. They used to say in Real Madrid and in FIBA international play, he goes off the ball. Then do it. I'm tired of that argument. If you're not going to do it in the NBA, who gives a shit? So Luka was amazing. He took his team to the finals, and that should be celebrated. Absolutely. He was not the favorite. He should not have won this series, but I thought he was going to play so much better. I really did. I don't think he was nearly good enough. His defense needs to get better too. But he's just lazy. He's just a little lazy to me in terms of the little things in a game. Off-ball defense, all that nature. All stuff of that nature. But look, Luka's a special player. He's literally younger than me. What he's accomplished at this age is quite remarkable. He's the second greatest Dallas Maverick of all time right now as is. And I mean, he's going to keep going until he gets his ring, and I think he will win a ring, but we'll see. I don't know if it'll be next year. The West is tough, and they made it, but that Dallas Denver series would have been great, man. I'm so mad that Denver lost. That wasn't long term. That was not good for the postseason. We needed Denver Boston. I was saying all year that should have been the finals. Because here's the thing about Boston: they would not have been able to play switch everything against Jokic, not at all. And while Jokic would have been attacked defensively, they would have had no answer for him defensively. They can't switch everything on Jokic. So that was the finals we needed, but we didn't get it, and that's because they lost to the Timberwolves, who were like perfectly set up to beat Denver, and then the Dallas Mavericks were like perfectly set up to beat Minnesota, and then the Celtics were perfectly set up to beat Dallas. The Celtics were just great. I mean, you got to give so much credit to, what's his name, Brad Stevens, and of course Danny Ainge. But before I give the Celtics flowers, I know all my Celtics fans that are listening, especially on audio the next morning or the next couple days from now, are going to be like, "D, like, dude, are you going to fucking talk about us or what? Like, we won the championship." Don't worry, I will give you your flowers right now. Let's read the lines first. Peyton Pritchard shot one shot, and it'll never be forgotten in the history of basketball, at least for Celtics fans. 1 for 1, 3 points. Sam Hauser, what a game he had off the bench, by the way. So good. And he was solid on both ends. Sam Hauser went from like barely playing here and there last year in the playoffs to now was literally a seventh man on a championship team. Some games sixth, because when they have Porzingis. 8 points, 4 boards on 3 for 7 shooting, 2 for 6 from 3. Porzingis played just 16 minutes tonight. He wasn't even that huge of a factor. 5 points, 2 for 4 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. And then the starters. Al Horford, 9 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, no turnovers on 3 for 6 shooting and 2 for 3 from deep. Derek White, 14 points, 8 rebounds, including 4 offensive rebounds. By the way, 15-7 in the offensive rebound department in favor of Boston. Derek White, 4 of those, 8 rebounds overall, 1 assist, 2 steals, and a block on 4 for 10 shooting and 4 for 8 from 3. Drew Holiday, 15 points, 11 rebounds, 4 of those offensive rebounds as well, 4 assists, 1 block, 2 turnovers on 7 for 14 shooting and 1 for 3 from deep. And then the Jays. Jaylen Brown had a really rough shooting game, but he was still very good in my opinion. 21 points, 8 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals, and a turnover on 7 for 23 shooting, 2 for 9 from 3, 5 for 6 from the foul line, and then my player of the game. Number 0, you did it, buddy. Class of 2016, stand up. Jayson Tatum. And I'm talking about high school class of 2016, my high school class. 31 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals on 11 for 24 shooting, a putrid 1 for 7 from 3, but 8 for 8 from the line in 45 minutes. The Boston Celtics are your 2024 NBA champions. Okay. Can you hear me all right? Oh, wait, hold on. Let's see. Can you hear me all right? Oh, no. Oh, no. Can you hear me all right? Let me know in the sound. Let me know in the sound if you guys can hear me. Chat, Turn me up, chat. We good to go? We good to continue this live right now? I just switched back to my computer, my green screen, because I need to give my Celtics fans the flowers they deserve. Come on, where are the comments at? Is this working? Can you hear me? Is the sound good? This is going to be so annoying for those audio people, isn't it? I'm going to have to edit this episode for them because it's the last one. All right, thank you. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, the Boston Celtics are NBA champions. How did they do it? Well, I know everyone's going to hate because it's the Celtics, but this is the way that any team dreams about winning. And it started with a trade that shocked me and shocked everyone. I thought Paul Pierce was going to finish a Celtic. I thought he was going to retire a Celtic. And when I heard that news, I was blown away. I thought Danny Ainge was kind of fucked up for trading him. And it's wild that trading a franchise legend, 2 franchise legends, birthed 2 new franchise legends, the Jays, that would go on to represent this new era of Celtic basketball. And they had so many different iterations of this team that tried to win, beginning with Jayson Tatum. Actually, no, this story should begin with Isaiah Thomas. I think he deserves a lot of credit. The Isaiah Thomas Celtics and Al Horford, when they kind of led that team to the number 1 seed in 2017, everyone was shocked. I mean, nobody thought that they would go from the 5th seed the previous year in 2016 to the 1 seed. And Isaiah Thomas had one of the most spectacular years we've ever seen from an NBA player under 6 feet tall. They then make a huge move, another brutal Danny Ainge move, after getting beaten up in 5 games in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Cavs and Isaiah Thomas getting hurt. They trade for Kyrie Irving, who wants out. And now Kyrie Irving mixed with the new number 3 pick. And mind you, the Celtics had the number 1 pick in the draft and knew that the Sixers were going to take Markelle Fultz or Lonzo Ball, and they would get their guy in Jayson Tatum because they already had a point guard. I mean, talk about finesse by Danny Ainge. Gets Jayson Tatum, and now you have Jayson Tatum, Gordon Hayward, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Marcus Morris, Al Horford, all around Kyrie Irving. So Kyrie Irving could lead his team to the promised land. And that first year, everything goes well. They get to, and then Kyrie gets hurt. And we're thinking, now I was in Massachusetts for this. We're thinking, man, how far can they go? They can probably beat the Bucks, but how much further can they go after that? They beat the Bucks in a grueling 7-game series. Terry Rozier's popularity takes off. Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum show that they're, ready for playoff basketball, especially Jayson Tatum. They beat the Sixers in 5 games without Kyrie. Now, that was a little surprising how easily they dispatched them. And then in the conference finals, they go up 2-0 without Kyrie. They go up 3-2 without Kyrie, and Jayson Tatum is leading them in scoring, a rookie. Game 7, shoot themselves out of the game. Open 3 after open 3. Jaylen Brown missed so many threes in that game. I mean, LeBron James puts on an absolute masterclass. But you just knew that Celtics team wasn't ready. They weren't ready to win a championship without Kyrie Irving. They shot 7 for 39 from 3. Celtics fans, how does it feel to hear that now? 7 for 39 from 3 that night. Jaylen Brown shot 3 for 12 from 3. 3 for 12, 5 for 18 from the field. And then everybody thought, man, this team is going to be scary for years to come. Once we get Kyrie and Gordon Hayward back, we're going all the way. And that was my junior year of college. Jayson Tatum's second year in the league. And everyone thought, all my friends thought, and even I did, is the Celtics conference to lose. And it was so weird. It was like there was just too many cooks in the kitchen. Everybody was deferring to one another, and no one knew the pecking order. Is this Kyrie Irving's team? But he's the point guard, right? Do you want your point guard taking 20-plus shots? Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, Marcus Smart, Terry Rozier has now tasted what being a starting point guard is like. And it was just so wonky. It was so weird. Kyrie Irving went into the media after one loss and was saying, I know what LeBron was saying now about me when I was young, which was essentially taking a shot at the Jays. And I thought that was very unprofessional of him to do that at the time. And I had nothing against Kyrie. I actually liked him at the time. And you just saw that he wasn't number one option leadership material. Just wasn't him. And you made the Jays essentially spot up shooters. They just didn't develop at all that year. That year really hurt their development. And then Gordon Hayward wasn't the same. And they got exposed badly in that second round against the Bucks, where Kyrie Irving essentially quit on the team. He didn't look like he even gave a fuck at the end, because the season was just so dysfunctional. And then you truly began the Jays era. The teams that were centered around Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And in 2020, that was my senior year of college, I said the Celtics were going to the finals. And they got so close. But that Miami team just seemed like they were a little more experienced and a little smarter. The Jays took so many bad shots that they shot themselves out of it. And the Heat just played big in the big moments. And you just knew, look, a third-year player is not leading you to a title. It's just not going to happen. Kemba Walker was great, but he wasn't the same in the bubble. And then you've had the one outlier year in 2021 where the Celtics just didn't have enough. They lost Gordon Hayward. Kemba Walker was not the Kemba Walker of pre-COVID, pre-injury. They didn't have Al Horford anymore. They were starting guys like Evan Fournier in the playoffs. Jaylen Brown had a breakout season, finally made the All-Star team. I believe that was his first year making it. And Jayson Tatum was great, but it was just the Jays and not much else. And they didn't even have Jaylen Brown in the first round, and they got smacked by Kyrie Irving and the Nets. And that's where Kyrie Irving stepped on lucky. And man, Kyrie versus Boston after that would be very one-sided. It's crazy to think that in 2022, the Celtics still weren't achieving expectations. If you go and watch this channel, if you go on my Dime Dropper channel, there's a video titled, "I Finally Graduated and Went to a Celtics Game." Because I graduated in 2020, my graduation was canceled. We had a makeup in 2022 or late 2021, and I went to a Celtics game. They had Dennis Schroeder. They didn't have Derek White yet. They beat the Raptors. I have a video of it. And it was just a mediocre team. A mediocre team with the coach in Udoka. And then you get the Derek White trade. And then you get this change in the way that the Celtics play defense, starting with the Jays. But of course, Derek White. Marcus Smart wins Defensive Player of the Year. The Celtics end the second half of the season like few teams ever have. Get the second seed and make a statement by sweeping Kevin Durant and Kyrie. It's one thing to sweep Kyrie Irving, but Kevin Durant had never been swept before. That was major. They shut them down. They had people talking about they're the best defense that we've seen in years. Jayson Tatum was guarding KD. He was outplaying KD. That's when I knew he took a leap. And Jaylen Brown was just continuing to improve every year. And Derek White was spectacular. And they do that. Sweep the Nets. Looked like they were going to win the championship. Beat the Bucks, even though Chris Middleton did get hurt. But Jayson Tatum in Game 6 went crazy. Game 7, Grant Williams hits all those threes. Eastern Conference Finals, they beat the Heat. But then they play against a team that has a little more championship experience than they do. A lot more, actually. And Steph Curry was the best player in the series. And that was really the difference. Jayson Tatum shat the bed. You want to talk about shitting the bed? That was shitting the bed. Because his decision-making was awful. They both had major tunnel vision. And you saw that ISO and ball pounding was not going to beat a movement team like that with experience that had the best player on the floor. And they learned a lot from that. And then they had the Udoka scandal. Then they come back last year. And they had championship or bust from the get-go. And they just fell short. They didn't look convincing at home. They did end up beating the Hawks, but it went to 6 games. They didn't have the same defensive tenacity that Udoka team had. Everybody was talking about, are they soft? Second round, they beat the Sixers. They were down 3-2. Then Tatum took over Game 6 at the end, had 50 in Game 7. And then in the Eastern Conference Finals, they go down 3-0. They had the same defensive strategy as this year, switch everything, but they were getting exposed. Jimmy Butler was destroying Grant Williams. He was destroying anybody he saw. And the Celtics, you saw the three-point shooting, the chucking, the bad decision-making by the Jays came back to bite them. And Al Horford went cold. And they make a run and find a way to bring it back to Game 7. I thought they were going to be the first team to ever come back from 3-0, and they did not. Jaylen Brown had the nightmare game, the left-hand game, and Jayson Tatum got injured. And all summer long, it's been, can the Jays do this? Is Jaylen Brown good enough? Jayson Tatum isn't good enough to be the number one on a championship team. And how about the conversation before the Derek White trade? Should they break up the Jays? We heard it for years. Should they break up the Jays? They persevered. They stuck to it. They realized these guys are young. You know, the thing with the Jays that made them so unique in their championship road was that they came into a great team, but they were also handed the keys to that team at a young age. In the third season of Jayson Tatum's career, they were basically like, look, the Kyrie Irving thing didn't work out, but we're bringing in Kemba Walker, and Kemba Walker's coming here to help you and Jaylen, not coming here to be the man. And ever since that, it's been the Jays team. And they've had such high expectations for guys their age to lead a team to a title. It's not frequent that a player under the age of 20, 25 or under leads a team to a title. Jayson Tatum was born in the same year as me, right? I'm 25. I'm turning 26 in about a month and a half. Jayson Tatum turned 26 in March. He is in his 7th year, but you forget how he's not even that old because he's had so much playoff experience. And I'm not saying he overcame odds necessarily, but he did have a lot of responsibility as a young leader. And both of these guys had a lot of pressure on them. And all season long, it was championship or bust. Nobody cared about their number one seed. Nobody cared how dominant they were in the regular season because it was all about the playoffs. And they went out and got Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. With Kristaps Porzingis, they now have 2 stretch fives, a pick and pop guy that's elite, that can really make it easier for Jaylen and Jayson. And if you switch to take away that pick and pop, Porzingis can take advantage. And you saw an aggression that we didn't see as a member of the Mavericks with Porzingis. We saw some of that with Washington, but now we got to do it on a great team. And then you saw Drew Holiday, who came to the Bucks in 2020, 2021 to help them get over the hump and replace Eric Bledsoe. And this time it was to replace a fan favorite in Marcus Smart. And with those 2 additions, I knew they'd move the needle. But will they end up being the difference in the championship? To me, no. It was going to come down to the maturation of the Jays. Could they make the big plays in the big moments? And I'll tell you what, the first round, they didn't really get tested playing against the Heat without Jimmy. In the second round, they didn't really get tested playing against the Cavs without Mitchell. And it was funny because all year long, whenever the Celtics lost even one game, it was, they just don't have it. They just can't do it. Tatum can't lead a team to a championship. Jaylen Brown is just not good enough. His left hand is weak. All this. And in the second round, through 2 rounds, you were still thinking like they're shaky. They just got lucky that Donovan and Jimmy were out. Then they're playing the Pacers, who got lucky by playing against a team without Giannis, and the Knicks that were just beaten up. And even those first 3 to 4, even those 4 wins, they were so close. So everybody was saying what a cupcake route. But then you played against the Dallas team that destroyed the Wolves, who beat the defending champs. And the Celtics made a mockery of them, exposed every flaw that they had, that you only have 2 shot creators. We're going to switch everything and make you play one-on-one and dare you to beat our best defenders in the league. And then we are going to play our game. And if you want to try to beat us at our own game, we have spot-up shooters everywhere, and we don't have defenders you can attack. So this Celtics team, they hold a special distinction. When the Clippers put Kawhi and Paul George together, I said that there's never been a team that has won like this, that their 2 best players are score-first wings that probably would both be small forwards 10 years ago. They'd both be listed at that position, but in the positionless basketball era, you can have 2 guys that do similar things as long as they can do certain things that make, today's NBA is all about being a versatile defender that can guard multiple positions and multiple sizes, I should say, because it's positionless basketball. And then can you create offensive advantages and shoot the ball? Those kind of guys will get you on the floor. So again, when people talk about true point guard, if you tell me that Drew Holiday was some true point guard for the Celtics, that's not true. Jayson Tatum had the ball in his hands the most. They created shots by committee, and Jayson Tatum probably created the most shots for this team. They didn't have a true point guard. They won because they created enough good shots due to their personnel, due to their spacing, and due to the fact they had so many guys that could put the ball on the floor and that could shoot, and all of them could guard. They found the perfect formula to put around 2 wings that were score first that aren't great passers. I think they are good passers. In Jayson Tatum's case, you could even say he's a very good passer now, but he's not a great passer. He's not a Scottie Pippen point forward, and he's not a LeBron James, because those are the 2 best players or wings kind of deal. D-Wade and Bron, and then Pippen and Jordan. The other ones are usually a big and a guard. These 2 guys, just like Kawhi and Paul, were score first wings. But you know what the problem is with that, and what the problem was? You're relying on them to create all the shots, right? But you also want them to guard. And the Celtics found the formula. They put two special role players next to them that are all-star caliber, that had people talking about all-star stuff, this season. In Drew Holiday's case, he was an all-star last year, that could handle the ball and run the offense, attack a closeout and make an open three, and they could guard the point of attack, which allows Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum to guard other guys and kind of save their energy for offense. So for the Clippers, that was my whole thing. People talk about Kawhi and Paul George being those two-way guys. We don't ask them to guard the best players because we want them to create offensively. So the key has always been to lessen their defensive load to me, not lessen their offensive load. But again, I'm not the GM and people disagree with me. But that's always what I believe, is putting great point of attack defenders around them and having a defense first team with a lot of length and size. And the Celtics did that. They put two guys around them and a bunch of spot-up shooters. And let me just say this, Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum took that next step. They went to the basket way more, and especially Jaylen Brown this playoffs. There was not one game where I said he was settling. He constantly put pressure on the rim. He got better with his left hand. He got so much smarter. Jayson Tatum, too, he still had his moments where he took terrible shots. He still had his moments where he settled and did too much in isolation. But the amount of times to me that he took bad shots was less than before. The amount of good reads he made was less than before. And the amount of double-digit rebound games he had was higher than ever. He was switching 1 through 5 throughout the postseason, which was taking away pick-and-roll advantages for other teams. And that cannot be understated, because a lot of the guys you say, oh, he could have won a chip in Tatum's place, they can't do that. They can't do that. And let's just go one by one. So that's kind of their story, man. They got over the hump. They destroyed this Mavericks team. And it was one of my worst predictions ever. I know I kind of did it as an anti-jinx, but taking Mavs in 6 because I was so confident that the Luka Kyrie offense would be a lot to stop. And I said that the games are close. I trust Dallas a lot more. The games weren't really close. None of the wins really were, except for one, game 3. So credit to the Celtics, man. They kept it, they kept the distance in all their games. It felt like it took so much for the Mavericks to win. So it reminded me a lot of that Nets series, to be honest, 2022 Nets. But anyways, I'm happy with the outcome. And by the way, guess what seed won a championship? Number 1. I told y'all about that top 3 seed. Teams that are lower than a 3 seed can win the championship. They especially can go far, but it's extremely rare to win 4 series on the road. As you can tell, the Dallas Mavericks were a very good team, but they were not a championship team. They were not. And everyone's going to say, I mean, if they didn't play against this team, they would have been. You guys that praise these guys that fall short, these teams that fall short, you always say, well, they had to play against prime Kobe. If it wasn't for prime Kobe, they would have won. If it wasn't for Jordan, they would have won a title. If it wasn't for the 2018 Warriors, you're always going to play against a team of this caliber or players of this caliber in the finals. That's what makes them champions, and you not. The Mavericks were not good enough. Their supporting cast wasn't good enough. Luka still has some ways to go, and Kyrie Irving wasn't good enough. They weren't good enough in this series. And then, so I'm going to give some praise to the players, man. Al Horford. I mean, I'm so happy for him, dude. I've said it for a while. I think a lot of people deserve. I don't think many people deserve to win a ring. I don't like using that kind of vernacular. I think you got to go get it. But Al Horford, that guy's been a winner his whole career. He's helped every single team make the playoffs, except for the Thunder, where they traded him because he was doing too well. He had all those great years with the Hawks. He was an all-star multiple times. Had that number 1 seed season with the Hawks, the most shocking 1 seed that I've ever remembered. What's it called? The 2015 Hawks. And then he goes to Boston, immediately helps them get to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years in a row. And then he goes to the Thunder, goes to the Sixers. And that was, Celtics fans were really mad about that. And I guess that just wasn't a great fit with Embiid at all to play those two together. He goes to the Thunder and then finds his way back to Boston. And I thought he was pretty much done. Guess has a resurgence, and he gets his championship. He has an amazing case of the Hall of Fame now with those rings with Florida. And he's had a great NBA career. And the fact that he was able to switch 1 through 5 and Luka and Kyrie didn't abuse him was just amazing. At his age to be doing that. And basically, he was the starting center of the whole playoffs because Porzingis was injured so much. I mean, Al Horford, dude, what a legend. República Dominicana, levántate. Is he the first Dominican to ever win a championship in the NBA? I think he might be. Shout out to all my Dominicans. Lawrence, Massachusetts, having parties tonight. Anyway, how about Derek White? To me, this guy has a chance to go down as one of the great role players in NBA history. One of the best shot blocking guards I've ever seen. His point of attack defense is exceptional. He makes all the effort plays that help you win. And the timeliness of his threes were ridiculous this postseason. He completely changed the Celtics team the second he arrived. I mean, there's not enough superlatives to say about the guy. He's become a cult hero in Boston. And it just seems like these San Antonio guys, when they leave San Antonio, they have a great higher basketball IQ. And Derek White absolutely helped this Celtics team's basketball IQ. How about Drew Holiday? I think I've said enough. He's special, man. He helps you win. 2-time champion as you can say the third option, if you want to go there. Helped 2 teams get over the hump. One of the best defenders of his generation. I was right yet again. Drew Holiday's a winner, man. And everyone's going to say, yeah, of course, with a lesser role. I don't give a fuck. Any team that Drew Holiday's gone to, it doesn't help. Case closed. End of story. Kristaps Porzingis, what an amazing redemption arc for him beating his former team. It's kind of sad how injured he was, but I think that just tells you how great the Celtics team was. And honestly, just it makes you give more credit to those other 4, the White, Holiday, honestly 5, the whole starting lineup, Horford, White, Holiday, and the Jays. They didn't have Porzingis for a lot of it. And look, Porzingis in game 1 was a game changer. And he did have great moments throughout the season. It was a great addition, but the fact they won without him so much was impressive. But then the Jays, man, Jaylen Brown just got better every year. A class act, in my opinion. He's always done great stuff with his platform. Has been a voice for a lot of great things. Social justice stuff. A well-spoken individual, and just a guy who they remember those rumors about how he's not happy in Boston and all that. How sweet must this feel? Throughout my time in Massachusetts, they would always compare the Jays. Is Jaylen actually better than Jayson? I mean, everybody gives Jayson so much credit. And look, we ended with it. I think it's kind of fitting that we ended the title season with not knowing who's better. It's a great argument. I think Jaylen Brown was better at getting to the rim. I think he makes better decisions. And let's be honest, Jaylen Brown won Finals MVP, and I think he deserved it. It was a debatable one. I really think it was a debatable one. But this title to me is a 1A, 1B situation. And kind of like the last Celtics title where people argued, Garnett, Pierce. I think in the regular season, it was Garnett. Just like in the regular season, it was Tatum. But in the playoffs, the thing is back in 2008, you can still argue Garnett was better in the playoffs, but Pierce was better in the finals. Pierce was the closer. Jaylen Brown really was a better closer, though, than Tatum. And he was more consistent. And that's why I think that he deserved both of the awards he got this postseason. And I think there's going to be a whole argument this summer about who's better between Jaylen and Jayson. And I'll tell you what, it does not mean shit. It means shit for all you people that want to rank players and do your little rankings. And I'm one of those that'll probably do a rankings. But for Celtics fans, for Jayson Tatum, this means nothing. And the problem with our society now is we just care too much about the individual stuff. Everyone says it's a team sport. To say about, Luka didn't win because it's a team sport. But then when a guy wins and wins commandingly and has the ball in his hands the most and is trusted by his coaching staff to create the most shots of anyone on his team, which is what Jayson Tatum has the responsibility of doing, we knock them because one aspect of the game, the main aspect, you can say, scoring, they didn't do a good enough job of. But who's making the determination of what's a good enough job of? Good enough job to have the same stats he had in the regular season? Sure. But is the goal to have the same stats that he had in the regular season? Or is the goal for the Boston Celtics to win a championship by any means necessary? If you take Jayson Tatum off the court, are the Celtics better or worse? That's a no-brainer. And then for all the people that say, imagine if you put so-and-so on this team, they'd still win. Can that so-and-so switch 1 through 5? Because the fact of the matter is, teams can't take advantage of Tatum defensively. While you can argue he did a worse job on defense than any of the guys in isolation,
He's not, it's not Luka or Kyrie, is it? That they can attack. It's not Trae Young. It's not Tyrese Halliburton. It's not Jalen Brunson. These guys cannot do what Tatum does. They don't have the ability to get double-digit rebounds all the time like the way he did in this postseason. So again, and then we have this whole thing about you're talking about rebounds and defense for a guy that's supposed to be this and that. It's like, so now we discredit the grunt work just because the shot's not falling. Like, I don't understand. Like, my coaches growing up used to always tell me, if your shot's not falling, that shouldn't take you out of the game. You still got to, there's still other aspects of the game you can affect. But now it's like, oh man, if your shot's not falling, you're not shooting well, just fuck it. You're just not good enough for your number one option. Like, is the goal of the game to win, or is it not? Like, I'm not saying Tatum had a great series. I'm not saying you have to put him top 10. I'm not saying he's better than Luka. I'm not even saying he's better than Jaylen Brown. I'm saying that the conversation that's going to occur in the next few weeks on all these media platforms and on social media is going to be about, should Jayson Tatum have won this award? And let me just say this, the fact that you can make an argument Tatum was pushing for it at the end. Look, man, throughout the series, I don't think you want to watch a series that you see somebody trying to fight for the finals MVP, go watch the 04 finals. And I'm a Kobe guy saying that. At the end of the day, the Jays seemed happy for each other at the end. They didn't care who won finals MVP. You can say that Jayson Tatum might have been a little bit upset. I have no proof of that. You're just going off of reading body language. And to me, his body language seemed fine. Why were all the cameras on Tatum more than anyone else? Because he's still the face of this franchise. And you're going to debate who's better throughout this offseason, but it doesn't matter. The Celtics won a championship as a 1A, 1B tandem. They created enough offensive advantages to prove what everybody said wrong about them. That they couldn't win a ring together, that they needed a true point guard. Jrue Holiday is a point guard, but was he really dictating their offense like that all the time? No, he did it occasionally. But if you look at who had the ball in their hands the most, it was Jayson Tatum. Who led their team in assists in the playoffs? I think it was Jayson Tatum. I haven't seen the stats in front of me, but I know Jayson Tatum led this team in assists in the finals. They took steps forward, and they should both be praised for this. They should be praised that Jaylen Brown won finals MVP and Jayson Tatum, it doesn't really matter to him. Maybe it does. But like, does it? Is that going to affect his celebration for the rest of his life that he won a championship? You can never take away how big of a role he played in this title. And he was the best player tonight, and he easily could have won finals MVP, quite frankly. So I think Jaylen deserved it. But the problem is we care more about the individual stuff. We care more about, but he didn't win finals MVP and they compared him to this guy. It's like, dude, these stands are just ruining the game. You know, if Larry Bird was playing in the Twitter era, they would have shat on him in 1981. If Duncan Spurs, if Twitter was more rampant in 07, they would have shat on him for not winning finals MVP. We gave Steph Curry the hardest time for not winning finals MVP in 2015 for years, even though we knew he was the best player on that team. We're cooked. We don't celebrate selflessness anymore. And we don't celebrate, like, here's what Tatum really could have done. He could have just kept on gunning and shot himself back into rhythm. And, you know, he did shoot a lot in this series. He shot plenty. It's not like he didn't try to get back in rhythm. But the fact of the matter is, I never thought Tatum was being a ball hog. I never thought that the Celtics offense got too stagnant in this series, besides maybe like a stretch or two in the entire series. Jayson Tatum had a much better understanding to me of when to get aggressive and when to not. And that comes with experience and obviously trusting his great team. But nothing about the body language suggested to me that Tatum was mad. He should be celebrated for this. But I guarantee there's going to be people nitpicking all offseason. And to that, if I'm Jayson Tatum, I say, kiss my ring, brother. What they going to say? They're going to, you know, it's funny. Everybody's saying what they going to say now. They're going to say he didn't win finals MVP. But who cares? Like, who really cares? James Worthy won finals MVP, and Magic was arguably the best player in the world. We're going to take away from Magic? Like, that's the problem. It's like we don't celebrate other people's achievements. We think you have to win finals MVP because Jordan won every single finals MVP. The Celtics are champions. The Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown-led Celtics are champions. Shout out to all my family back in the East Coast. I love you all. Celebrate this, man. The Celtics get back in front of the Lakers and can make the stronger claim right now. I mean, a stronger claim as the best franchise ever. I still think it's a good discussion because the Lakers have legit won 11 titles since what we consider the modern era, which is the three-point line, Magic, Bird saving the league. Because let's be real, like, and I'm a Clipper fan saying this, The amount that we talk about the 1980 title versus 1979 is the most drastic year-to-year difference in the history of the NBA, of a difference in how much we talk about a series. That Magic coming to the NBA and starting at center, we've talked about that. It's 44 years since that happened, and we talk about it all the time. Nobody talks about the Sonics title over the Bullets. Nobody knows who Gus Williams even fucking is. Shout out to Gus Williams, by the way, the Wizard. That was a change in the NBA history. But then I hate the Laker fans that try to discredit the Celtics' old titles with Russell. Because I have shown a lot about those titles, that those were not easy to win. And then those are the same Laker fans that talk about those 5 titles in Minnesota where it was an all-white guy league for real. Don't talk about Jim Crow when the Celtics actually did a lot to help the black population in basketball in the NBA at the time. They were a forward organization in that respect. Even though their fans were racist, the organization themselves, they appointed a black head coach in American pro sports. That was unheard of at the time, that a white man would secede power to a black man in Bill Russell. They're also the first team to start 5 black players. And they really had black players earlier, like multiple black players earlier than other teams. The Lakers, look, all due respect to Mike and them, that was literally the all-white guy part-time worker era that they talk about, plumbers and stuff. Like that's the 60s. There's a lot of guys in the 60s that are like ridiculously good basketball players. And I showed a lot of that talent in the 69 All-Star game. So the Celtics are in front, point blank on the story, but I still think that who's the best franchise in NBA history? Comment below, guys. Because I know I have followers that aren't just Lakers and Clippers, but I just want to say to end this, man, to all of you, my subscribers. So congrats to the Celtics fans, man. Shout out to you guys all. Enjoy it. Milk it. It's been 16 years. The Jays finally won a title and fulfilled their destiny. It's an amazing time. But I just want to say to all of you guys who have supported me, the ones that come to listen to the lives, even when they're not Lakers and Clippers, you know, the mods, all of you mods, the regulars, you know who you are. You guys are what makes this channel great. You keep it going. You support me even when I'm not talking about the Lakers and the Clippers, because you know I just love the game of basketball. And this postseason, we literally watched every single game. I did a breakdown for every single game, even if it meant I was doing breakdowns on games that happened 5 days ago. I made sure I talked about every game, because when it comes to talking about this sport of the NBA, even though I don't really love the current product right now, I think it is a declining product, and I've made threads about it. I've spoken about it so much. I'm still in love with the NBA and the storylines and my team and the knowledge that comes with it, what I learn every season. And I pride myself on knowing about this league. I pride myself on knowing the history of the game. And if you want to be the ultimate historian, you got to learn what's happening now as well. And I try to watch every game because I love playoff basketball. And this playoffs kind of sucked. The finals was awful. The Eastern Conference playoffs was terrible. The Minnesota-Denver series was the highlight of it all. My team got injured yet again. The LA teams didn't make it out of the first round. But I still enjoyed it. And it's so much more enjoyable because of all of you. I love you all. Thank you so much for supporting me in all my videos. And next season, I'll still probably be doing a lot of lives. I don't know exactly all my plans. I'll tell you what, though, in the playoffs, we'll still probably be doing the same thing, going live after every game. But I'm not going anywhere. This summer, we're going to do a lot of 4 Sportsmen again. All offseason content will be covered on the 4 Sportsmen. A lot of Dime Machine. I'm really kicking it into heavy gear. Film breakdowns on the past. Podcasts about the past. Guests. I'm really going to be working on that. WNBA content. Let me know if you want me to make Sparks post-game lives as well. We'll be getting vlogs of that nature. And, of course, coming up this week, Copa America 2024. A preview is going to be coming, and the ultimate video. I am going to Atlanta for the first time to see Lionel Messi play live. Argentina, Canada, the opening game of Copa America right here on this channel, and Brazil's first game of Copa America against Costa Rica right here in Los Angeles at SoFi. So it's going to be a great summer on Dime Dropper. You better not go anywhere. If you're a true diehard, you really want to talk about all-time this, all-time that, you got to watch the Dime Machine. We're breaking it all down. I love you all. Have a very great night. And you know what? Let's read some comments. Why not? It's the last live of the season. I owe you guys. Luka and Kyrie disappointing. Back, rigged. JP wins it. I'm happy for him. What's up, Kenny K? Thank you for all the love. By the way, to all the Mavericks fans, I appreciate you all so much as well for supporting me this season. You guys really added to the channel, and I appreciate you. We reached 10,000 subscribers this season. 10,000. And that was a huge milestone. We started the season with 5K. So we came such a long way. It was the biggest year of our growth yet. And I couldn't be more thankful to all of you. Wonder who's making the finals next year. I hope Clippers management learns from Boston how to. So the main difference with the Clippers on that note is that we don't get the rim like they do. They're younger than us, and they put 2 point of attack guys around them, and we don't have one stretch five. It would be nice to have one. Drew Holiday was definitely player of the game of Game 5. Agree, I would have voted for him. I like Drew, but he would have made zero impact on our team. That's if. I'm not gonna get into that, bro. I think that was much more about Jimmy Butler playing great than Drew Holiday doing anything wrong. I mean, like, come on. Like, you trying to tell me that was bad defense? He will have 20 to 30 games next year playing like an MVP, and we will all be fooled again, just like every year. Oh, Kawhi? Josh Green was hooping. Certainly his best game of the playoffs and maybe the whole year. Could have done better on the defensive boards, but was overall great. Dude needs to have that three-point stroke next year. Sounds like James Harden dime. Bert, again, stop with the excuses. I understand that he had better teammates. Doesn't mean I guarantee, bro, even if it was PJ Washington, Bird's instinct is still to throw the ball up the floor. Work quicker. Everything Larry Bird does is quicker than Luka. Everything. Luka played like Game 3 Luka, lazy, too much ISO. I agree with your dime. Let's not act like the Celtics play. They don't. I already acknowledged that. Kawhi and Clippers turn next. Okay. Game 5 versus OKC was a different Luka, and that dude never showed up again. What? What about Minnesota series, man? Oh, I guess you're talking about the pace. Last 6 champions, the only teams who played real emotion offense was Denver and Golden State. Yep. Yeah, I agree. Just think building a well-rounded and deep roster is the most important thing now. I agree. Luka just needs to be a below-average defender instead of a terrible one. I think he needs to be average, to be honest. Lakers winning next year with Jayson. Okay. Sam, I appreciate you, Golden Knight. Sam Hauser's the next Grant Williams. How many Copa games are you going to go to? Right now, only 2, but we'll see. It's good. It's good. Been a Clippers fan in San Diego, but I'm rooting for OKC for the rest of my boomer life. PG is leaving to Philadelphia. Kawhi Leonard cut his hair. No, he didn't cut his hair. He just put it in a ponytail. No one cares. The Celtics won. Clippers versus Celtics NBA Finals. Stop with that. Clippers in 6. Trade Paul George for Jaylen Brown. What? You think Celtics win back-to-back? They have a chance. They truly have a chance. That's the thing about them is they have a chance to go all the way again and win for many years. They're young. Jayson Tatum just won his first title at 26. I mean, sky's the limit. Could be a dynasty. It shows how great LeBron James shits on both Jays. Of course. I watched the show Clipped. Clippers are a mess. V, the chick from Clippers, is hot. The girl in the show is really hot. Kawhi and PG don't offer the rim pressure. I already mentioned that. Great breakdown of the Celtics run. Luka will win ring in his career. Boston's a great city, though. I agree with what you're saying about Dallas not being good enough, but I do agree that a lot of times matchups are dictating things. Like I think if Denver was in the finals, I agree with that too. On to the offseason. This championship is deserved, and I'm proud of the C's, especially knowing how we beat them in 2022 and finally getting over the hump. I've been asking this a lot of people, but do you think the C's would have still won this year if Udoka was the coach? Yes, absolutely. Brad Stevens deserves a ton of credit. He built a perfect modern team with perfect spacing at all times for the Jays to thrive. I agree. Narratives. Porzingis was the best player on the floor early in the series, while just one game. No, but probably the Lakers are most iconic and has iconic players. Let me in. What did you think of? Do you want to be in it, Dean? Dean was at the game tonight, at the Celtics game tonight. If you want to come join and share your thoughts, go ahead. What do you think of France? Oh, good question. What do I think of France's game? I think France was pretty good, but I think Austria played really well. They weren't that dominant. I think the Teo Hernandez is so impressive at the back. Their defense was good. Saliba was good, and it was good to see Saliba start. I am a little sus on Upamecano after the season he had with Bayern. Bayern did not even come close to winning the league. It was good to see my boy N'Golo Kante do amazing things again. I mean, come on, son. That dude played like he hadn't even missed a day out there breaking things up in midfield. My guy. But Dembele and Thuram were kind of wasteful in the final third. Thuram clearly didn't trust his left foot. He ain't no Lillian Thuram, that's for sure. And then, I mean, Mbappe broke his nose, which sucks to see, but he still created the goal. He should have scored, but he still created that own goal. So it wasn't a very impressive performance, but they got the 3 points. That's all that matters. England was even worse yesterday. They were a joke. Serbia, they should have tied that game. But again, get the 3 points, all that matters. Incorrect. Mavs fans fucking blow. City of Dallas in flames tonight. We'll be back next year. Drew got burned off the ball out versus Jimmy and Ras. Yeah, he sure did. Good player, though. Drew and Al, both Hall of Famers, if they retired right now. Is this the last we see of Kyrie in the NBA Finals? I don't know. Nuggets winning it all? Okay. Back-to-backs are so hard, man. Injury variability, aging. You're right. It's really hard. Remember, we haven't had a back-to-back champion since the Warriors. Remember how when Pingus got traded to Boston, everyone was saying his health was a doubt? Well, his health issue still occurred and the C still won. Yeah. I've been watching Milan all season. Hernandez is so good. I feel you, bro. He is. Kante's such a baller. So great seeing him back out there. Not impressive France, but I think they'll kick it into gear at some point. I agree. The East stinks. Boston should be in the finals next year. Well, dude, you're acting like these teams can't change their rosters. Yeah, Boston has the chance to go back-to-back, but we said that about Denver. All right, I guess I'll let my boy in here. Wait. Oh, what's up, Fabian? Are you in here?
I am in here.
Wow, man. How you feeling about the Celtics winning a title?
Wait. This is allegedly Fabian, by the way.
Allegedly, Fabian? Okay.
Allegedly fade. I'm disgusted. I was wrong, but I'm just disgusted because it's Boston, my brother.
Yeah.
How are you, man, over there in the West Coast? How do you feel about them gaining another one over an LA team?
I mean, that kind of sucks because I do like when it's tied. I like the Lakers and the Celtics being tied. It is fun seeing some Laker fans be butthurt. My uncle being the top of the list.
Right.
But I do have some pride in the fact that the Lakers are a storied franchise and I'm from here. But there was too much I had riding on my agendas for the Celtics to win. One, Drew Holiday. You know, people really came at me all season long about wanting him over Harden. I mean, again, I don't give a fuck about what James Harden has done. I would take Drew Holiday on my team every single day of the week because I'll tell you this. If I'm building a team that Kawhi Leonard's going to get hurt for sure, I would take James Harden. But no, I would never take Drew Holiday. Third option or lower role, I'm taking Drew Holiday. Guys that guard and rebound that can guarantee that they can have a decent game even if they shoot like shit. And they don't take away from other people so much, which I think Harden does. And Luka at times does as well.
But Harden's basically a second or third option now. Like, that's not even. And then defensively, Drew Holiday is a different level. And I think you hit everything on the nose. What Boston did in the last 2 or 3 years was improve on everything. Like the Drew Holiday for Marcus Smart upgrade is an upgrade. That's not talked about enough. Marcus Smart lost them games.
Yo, Fabian, some people were coming at me today saying that if Smart was there, they still probably would have won instead of Holiday. I'm like, are you guys fucking stupid?
No, they didn't watch them. And look, it's not hate on him. It's just not discipline. Drew Holiday he's a kung fu master out there on defense. That's what he is. He's not playing any games. So
his off ball was so much
amazing
better too. His off ball offense was so much better than Smart.
Oh, right. But he just didn't turn the ball over. Like last year with Milwaukee, you could tell there were flaws, and maybe Brook Lopez did take a step back. He's not a real point guard, like you said earlier. And once they're flawed, it's tough. But he can be the glue. He's the ultimate nail in the coffin. Yeah. And that's what he was for them. Along with, like you said, Tatum shot less bad shots, but more importantly, is Brown going left, Brown attacking, not settling whatsoever, being aggressive. Yeah. Nobody really stood out as a Finals MVP. I'm not mad at Jaylen Brown getting it. Jayson Tatum, points, rebounds, assists. He led the team. I was dead wrong about them needing Tatum to be a closer when you smack everybody up like this. Like, they smacked everybody.
Yeah.
So what do we need? What do we have to close if there's no there's no door open?
Right.
So we didn't expect this though. We expected somebody to, Denver or somebody to show up and challenge them. Mm-hmm. And injuries, we can talk about injuries all we want to, but you also have to point to them just being able to close it out as a team. And Tatum, Drew Holiday's not going to be there forever. I saw the ESPN hype machine trying to say they're going to look for multiple championships. It's going to be hard for anyone to win multiple championships in the next decade. I disagree with what you said earlier too, Dom. You should look forward to the next decade being the complete opposite of what the last 15 years have been. There's no more player empowerment. That is dead. The only way you're gonna have any player empowerment is what the Knicks are doing.
How can you say something like that?
Because how you can't build a dynasty anymore. You can't just trade anybody the way you could have before. because you're only allowed to have
still
two max players.
The players have still so much power.
Nah, Dime. The CBA, I don't think you understand. There's a lot more money coming in, and the league is making sure you can only have two max players at a time, two superstar max players at a time. If not, unless they take way less money. If they take way less money, that would change the game up. But if you are a superstar, they're daring you to turn down $300 to $500 million, and then on top of that, how are you going to build around them? It's going to be a lot harder to build around those 2 or 3 guys than ever before. When Miami did it, they took a little less money, right? When Golden State did it, they was like, Draymond took less money to get Kevin Durant over there. They traded Harrison Barnes. Look, there's been 5 different champions in the last 5 years.
I know, but these guys have a good chance with their team, with their core.
They have the best. Well, they have, of course, yeah, they have a good core. Come on now, like Drew Holiday signed for another year. Porzingis, it does rely on Porzingis' health though. It does. Without him, they're not going. They're not going to win the finals. They wouldn't have won the finals.
This one?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. How can you say that? They basically won without him. Yeah, go ahead.
No, the first 2 games he played 20 minutes each.
Okay.
He stretched the floor. They were able to cheat in game 4 the way they should have in game 3. Jayson Kidd, that's a bad coaching job he had. Along with, you don't want to harp on him too much because you hit Luka on the nose. It's what we talked about his whole career, right? But Jayson Kidd didn't adjust to, Max Kleber leaving him out there. Once you have Tillman out there, they didn't guard him in game 4. Lively really roamed the paint and they would switch and allow Lively to roam the paint and rim protect and then close out on shots. They did well in game 4, but they couldn't do that for 6 or 7 games. You can't do that. It's a lot harder to do that when Porzingis is out there. Try that when Porzingis is out there and Lively has to come out. You're gonna leave Porzingis shooting 20 times a game? No, it's not happening. So well-balanced team, but Kidd, I think he did an awful job coaching. He did a bad job coaching, but this is straight up Luka and Kyrie. I don't want to ever hear again there's most skilled. That most skilled thing, a most skilled player of all time is dead. Is it in the coffin? I mean, I'm preaching to the choir with Dime over here, but that thing's in the coffin now.
I hope so. But now we're going to add my boy who was in the building tonight, in the actual building, the scene of Banner 18. Dean.
Yo, what's good, boys? Hello, Dime Dropper faithful.
How are you not in the streets?
Boston jersey on.
How are you not in the streets?
We were in the streets for a little bit, but the cops fucking blocked off everything. It was mad annoying, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
How was the atmosphere, man? This is your first time really seeing this because, you weren't watching hoops like that yet.
How do you think it was, bro? It was unbelievable. Like, literally, like, one of the best nights of my life.
Now, loudest game you've ever been to by far?
Yeah. Not by a huge margin, though. Not by all the playoff games, basically. Insane. So loud.
Wow.
Darn, peep
amazing,
this.
Man.
Peep this, Don. We got the confetti.
There we go. Amazing. So how does it feel, man? Jayson, Tatum, and Jaylen Brown have finally done it. They fulfilled their destiny. Do you care about all this, the media arguments they're going to start the next few days about all this stuff?
Bro, dude, the media shit's so annoying. Do I agree Tatum did not score well this finals? Yes. He had 12 assists, 11 assists in game 2 or 3. And then tonight he had 9 assists at halftime. Like, he does so much more than people like. And Jaylen Brown, man, like, you can't say enough about the guy. I'm glad he won Finals MVP. I really am. I saw a tweet where it was like, at halftime, Tatum was the favorite, and I was like, I love Tatum. I have Tatum's jersey out right now. Jaylen Brown deserved that shit.
Yeah, he definitely did, man. It was truly. I hope I mentioned this in my. I think I mentioned everything in my episode, but this Celtics team is very much like the definition of a truly modern team in the sense that their 2 best players are kind of similar players in what they do on the court, and they were able to just create enough advantages for them. You basically have 2 combo guards in the backcourt. Just 4 great shot creators. You had Tatum playing power forward essentially all season and guarding centers. But the main thing is they were able to switch everything, and they had a bunch of shooters and ball handlers. Just a very well put together team, and 2 different GMs deserve credit for this. How much do you guys think Danny Ainge for all this?
I mean, he did a bunch, but Brad Stevens is goated. I mean, Danny Ainge is also goated. Don't get me wrong, but Brad
And he hired Brad, which is kind of funny that it comes back to this.
I'm so glad. Like, I think he was a good coach, but he wasn't going to win a title. I'm so glad he is goated. I feel like, Dime, do you think that people outside of Boston, like not yourself, obviously, because you're locked in, but like, do you think the casual fans understand how Brad Stevens has like dealt the past 5, 10, do you think people realize that?
I think that he's gotten a lot of credit, to be honest, for GM, because everyone's talking about Tatum is, getting he has so much help and stuff. Like Brad Stevens just created a masterclass of a team. So I think he's gotten a lot of credit.
I feel like casuals don't understand to the extent, dude. I feel like they don't get it.
I mean, what about so what was it? What were the scenes like in the streets after you went out? I mean, the championship celebration was awesome.
No, it was insane. I mean, the usher had to tell us to leave. We were not moving from our seats. They had to tell us to leave.
Parties outside on Causeway?
No, dude, they blocked it off, bro. What? Only people who left the bars and left early in the stadium got to be in the mob pit, but we stayed till the very end, and so we didn't get to go to the mob pit. Super annoying, honestly. The cops are and what are we talking about? But can I just say, Dime, sorry, real quick. Penny Dropper hit me up and he said, "Why did Dime pick the Mavs to win this finals?" Can you explain yourself for a second?
Yeah,
wait. Can we explain who Penny Dropper is? That is hilarious.
It's his burner account.
I don't know him personally, but Penny Dropper is the arch nemesis of Dime Dropper. I think he's new to Twitter. I don't know him, but that's what he asked me.
It was 1, a little bit of an anti-jinx pick, but 2, I will take accountability for it. I just thought that the games would be a little bit closer. I underestimated. Man, what did I underestimate? I think I overestimated Dallas more than anything. I overestimated Dallas.
But when the games were close this series, not that it was a lot of the time, but when they were close, we still executed. That's the thing about this playoff
close
run.
Game 3.
I agree. It was only really one game. But when you look at the Pacers series, obviously Halliburton was out, and we shouldn't have been in the position in the first place. So I agree with that. But we were, and at the end of every game, we executed like we never have before. And I think that's a credit to Joe for just improving so much. Him and Pep Guardiola love that. And obviously getting Drew Holiday. He's, if I'm being honest, Drew's he's the guy that made it possible.
Yeah.
How'd you like the improvement from Drew Holiday compared to Marcus Smart in this situation, especially with finals appearance with all the marbles?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, right? So I got season tickets last year. Obviously, I love the Celtics before that, but I love Marcus Smart so much. When we played Memphis, and he was the hero of the game. I love Marcus so much. If I'm being honest though, Drew Holiday is everything Marcus is, but better at every single facet of the game.
Yeah, he is.
He just is. I mean, bro, he's a better shooter. He's a better, and Marcus Smart's great in the post. Drew Holiday's better in the post.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, obviously, though, is the IQ, right? Smart could get a little aggressive. He could start thinking it's my team. Drew, I don't remember the last time I was wow, that was a bad decision by Drew. I don't. I literally don't.
Yeah, and that was the one thing when he did have a little bit too big of a role on teams. He would take a lot of reckless shots, but he really toned that down with Boston. And then again, people are just he better, we're playing with all these better guys. But there's some players that just don't care, and they'll still just play the same way. That's why I give people credit for adapting. Isaiah Thomas always talks about adapting and sacrificing. I mean, look, Jayson Tatum, they're going to make more of the sacrifice than Jayson Tatum's missing shots, because he did miss a lot of shots, but he didn't – I don't know. I don't think he ball hogged. You know what I mean? He didn't seem mad about Jaylen getting off and all that.
Sorry, he had double-digit assists in multiple games in the NBA Finals. Of course he didn't ball hog. He always settles for that sidestep 3, bro.
I know.
I love the guy to death, but Jesus Christ, it's the most predictable play in basketball.
Yeah.
It's oh my God. It's crazy.
No, but look,
I love the guy.
But he settles, right, Dom? And this is all right. If they have a chance at the back-to-back, championship and just to go forward. And he's entering his prime.
He's
Is
gonna need to.
Jason Tatum entering his prime? This
He's
is
gonna need to
disgusting.
clean. He's gonna need to clean that up. I agree, but it's just crazy what he's accomplished already at his age, and having
And,
such. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I agree. And like, this is the weight off the shoulders. It really is. Like, you can say what you
Yeah.
want. It really is. Like, I genuinely expect Tatum to play to his normal level in the playoffs next year. I genuinely believe that. And I also think, like, guys like Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser, bro, I cannot say enough about those guys, especially Sam Hauser in this specific series, dude. Every series I was like, this is going to be Hauser's series. This is going to be, and it wasn't until when it mattered the most.
Yeah,
He's a dog. His defense is so good. It
was.
really is.
Nobody got taken advantage of in Boston. How impressive is it that Horford was able to basically be your starting center for the playoffs the entire time? It was crazy. Denver never got taken advantage of on D.
Literally never, bro. He was locking up Doncic. Like, dude, Doncic's stat sheet does not tell the story. If you watch the games, you see what actually happened. He's always going to get 30, whatever. I don't care. I don't care. When you watch the game,
that was crazy, Fabian. That Luka, he torched every team, but with the Celtics, he looked like he couldn't do shit.
Going into it, I thought they graduated and figured out a way to play side by side with Kyrie, and they didn't. Or just the Celtics got to give them credit.
I think
it's their style of deep.
Yeah, it was their style of defense, bro. They made him play one-on-one, switch everything. But I thought Luka.
Yeah, but it's also 3 All NBA guys, and Tatum at the 5.
Who's the third one?
That Tatum is basically all. I mean, not all NBA, all defense. Tatum is basically all defense, bro. He's guarding 1 through 5.
I know, and I give him a lot of credit. I've been mentioning that the whole time, but the way that nobody really got abused by Luka the whole series, like, he really couldn't get the step on guys, man. He's never really that kind of guy. But like we all talked about, well, Drew and Derek White might be too little for him. We never saw him try to abuse those two at all. It was all face up, top of the key. Like, I mean, it just felt like it was constantly against the set defense, man. Like that ball we talk about, that ball dominance, like when it's only 2 shot creators, man, it's so hard to win. I really am starting to appreciate that 2016 title more. Huh?
That's where Jayson Kidd really messed up the first 2 games. How do you not allow Kyrie Irving to bring the ball up the first 2 games the entire time? Luka Doncic looked scared to death of Drew. Anytime Drew Holiday was in front of him with 94 feet, he tried with Jaylen Brown. He didn't look as scared, but Drew Holiday literally had him hesitating and thinking about dribbling the ball. I was like, what? Just let Kyrie bring the ball if you're gonna do all that. That was silly.
Wait, Dime. To Dime, I agree with you, but to Dime's point, like we played one-on-one defense basically across the board, and so what ended up happening is all the role players, who, by the way, they were getting gassed up so much. The Mavs were their role players after the Minnesota series, and like we did, like it's like when Embiid like is dominating the ball or Harden's dominating the ball. All the role guys, they're not in rhythm. So when they get shots, they don't hit them because they're not in rhythm. Basketball is a rhythm sport. And so, like, because we were able to play one-on-one, and Jaylen Brown, I mean, dude, I didn't realize he was this
I didn't give him enough credit. I didn't give him enough credit for his defense on Luka in the live. I should have.
Unbelievable. I didn't realize he was this good at defense. Like, he's amazing, but, like, I didn't realize he was this good.
Yeah.
But just to get Luka to think, he wasn't thinking. And I didn't see him think the whole entire Western Conference playoff run. But against the Celtics from game 1, they made him think from the first dribble 94 feet. Like they were full court press in the championship, and you say, yeah, bring your best, Luka. We dare you to dribble the ball and think you're gonna herky jerk us, and it didn't happen.
Do you think, Fabian, that they part of it was that they were worn down?
No, let's stop. Listen, the one thing I'm gonna do is give the Celtics their damn credit, man. Again, 3 all defensive caliber defenders. Then you got 4. They built them correctly, like you said, Dean. The MVP is Brad Stevens. You added Porzingis and just the amazing trade, Porzingis and 2 first-round draft picks. The upgrade from to Milwaukee just dropping the ball, and then the Boston Celtics saying, you know what, Drew Holiday's available. Oh, we'll take that.
Insane.
We'll dump this.
Yeah.
So they did it for this series. They've been to the finals already. They've been to 3 or 4 Eastern Conference finals already. No, I don't want to hear about worn down. It is the finals. Luka Doncic, go put a garbage bag on and work out in Russia like Rocky did in a movie, something like that, bro. Enough is enough with these shenanigans. You lost. You're not capable. I don't want the whole LeBron comparison was insane. LeBron would have never done this, even at his worst. He was
Right.
flying down the court. It's
Yeah.
just the comparisons are crazy.
Fabian, like,
yeah, go ahead.
literally, like, wait, sorry, Fabian, like, he can't handle the physicality. It's his first time here, and he couldn't fucking handle it. We were getting up in him. He's like, oh, he won a title in Europe at 16 or whatever. I mean, that's impressive. But regardless, there's no, you know, like, Europe basketball, it's skilled. It's not nearly, like, he could not handle the physicality. We were getting in him the whole time.
Well, they allow more physicality in FIBA, but there's the athletes that the Celtics have. They just probably don't have. I mean, I don't know how many Drew Holidays are around.
Yeah, no.
That's what
Derek
all
White.
Ball would get mad about.
Derek White.
All
Well,
Ball get mad because Luka would say like, "Yo, they play tougher in Europe, but
Yeah.
the skill level here, the talent is way different, and
Well,
it
remember-
shows because they're gonna allow the physicality in the finals."
but remember, he wasn't averaging 30 every game in Europe. That it was harder for him to score, but the athleticism of I mean, it's all relative, you know.
He was also 16, though.
True. That's right. But still, I mean, the fact that he was so good.
Oh,
is
but
amazing.
hold on, wait. Let's and he's also just like Tatum needed to grow, and they built the right team around them. It is fair to say that Dallas did not have the right team around them to win at this point.
Yeah,
and also
not
he
talent.
has the way Tatum and Brown have been challenged throughout these years. Trade one of them, whatever it is, they went through their growing pains. At some point, Luka Doncic, remember Rick Carlisle quit. Don Nelson Jr. retired. These guys left because they said, you know what, Mark Cuban, if you're going to choose him over everybody, you'll learn, all right, no problem. We're out of here. So at some point, Luka Doncic has to look in the mirror. This ain't on everybody else, bro. You're the best player on the team. You want to be James Harden, go right ahead.
Dime, do they make it back? The Mavs? I don't think they do. Not with Kyrie as their second guy. I don't think they make it back.
I don't know. I wouldn't bet on them next year, but we'll see. You think it's because of Kyrie, or do you think they're going to upgrade the rest of them?
No, I don't think it's because of Kyrie. I'm just saying he's like obviously getting older and getting worse every year. I just don't think they're going to make it back with him as their second best player. We're going to make it back next year, but I don't think they will.
I mean, Celtics should be, if they can keep the big four guys, I think they should be fine.
We have everybody. We're going to re-sign Derek White. We're going to go into luxury tax the second tier. We don't care.
Yeah, the second apron. I mean,
yeah.
Wow, man. Parade on Friday?
Yep.
That's going to be special.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy for Tatum, man, because he's in our graduating class. He's the best player from our graduating class. And, you know, we saw him grow from my first year at UMass was his rookie year. And I was always big on Tatum, man. And I said he was going to lead you guys to banner 18. I mean, he kind of co-led, but it happened in this decade, which I'm happy it did. And I did say 30 points per game at one point, and that was last year. So this guy's asking you a question. Okay, what about Al's age? He bailed you out.
I mean, he's going to play next year, and he's going to be basically as good. I mean, with today's like medicine and training, like Drew Holiday's 34. You would not know he's 34. Like, he'll play next year, and then he might retire. But we'll have him for at least one more year, hopefully two.
Yeah, Fabian. I mean, you guys got any closing thoughts on the season as a whole? I mean, this is my last live of the season. Probably gonna get some food soon. So much social media stuff to check out, man. I mean, all the old Celtics are posting, all the fans. It's the best time for someone like you, Dean, to be on social media right now. It doesn't get better.
It really doesn't.
I only want to congratulate Dean and the Celtics fans, Carl out there. But as far as the Celtics go, they could go to hell. But the fans, congrats to you guys. Number what is it, 18 or 19?
18.
18. Oh, so they're all of age now. Amazing.
That's right.
Wow, that's wild, dude. It's crazy, man. The Celtics, the 17 rings. I heard that so much more from Laker fans growing up than the Celtics fans. But now they have the 18th. But it's mainly because the Lakers were just people here are just so big on the Lakers. But man, Dean, anything? I mean, you it doesn't get better than this for you guys.
I mean, yeah, unbelievable night, unbelievable season. I'm gonna have these tickets for my entire life.
You have a physical ticket?
No, it's all on the phone, Darian. But yeah, I mean, we sit next to a season ticket holder who their first year was the 08 championship.
Nice.
And so it feels very similar, second year. Like, it's the best thing I've ever done is got season tickets. Like, it's honestly, it's unbelievable. And I genuinely hope that you get to experience this one day. I really do.
The NBA? Oh,
Yeah, of course. I mean, anytime soon, but
yeah.
I hope you get to experience this.
I've almost I wouldn't say I've given up on the dream because otherwise what's the point of supporting a team? I might as well just be a Laker fan. But I haven't given up on the dream, but it's to the point now where I'm like, this isn't going to happen anytime soon. So
Not soon, but it could happen, and I hope it does for you.
Hey, real quick, do you think, Dean,
Yeah.
through the rumors are out there, do you think Dallas now takes Bronny and they want LeBron?
LeBron with Luka?
That's the rumor.
Well, they do need shot creation, but that's a little much.
Bro,
That's gonna be hilarious.
Whoever takes Bronny is such a sucker.
I love it.
Wait, what's your team, Luis? You're on my channel. You don't know what team I support? That's interesting.
That's odd. Dude, his younger Brycey's better, isn't he?
I don't know. I've never seen him playing full games.
I'm pretty sure Brycey's supposed to be better. I don't know. Bronny's not good. If anyone takes him, you're a clown. I don't know. We're not taking him. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. All right. Hey, fellas. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much, everybody, for an amazing season of lives, our best yet. And, we'll be back doing videos soon. I'm probably going to do a Copa America preview. Dean, if you want to just come on and join and start making predictions and stuff, I'll have like a round table. I could be down for that tomorrow.
By all means.
And then, guys, this weekend on the channel, seeing Messi play live in Atlanta. And guess what? The craziest part is I just found out today that we're coincidentally staying at the same hotel as Argentina. So that's going to be insane. ATL. I don't even know if I've told you about that, Dean.
Yeah.
I'm going to ATL because of the timing just worked out. It's so random. I'm paying out the ass, but it's going to be special. I get to see Messi play live for the first time in my life. Copa America, vámonos. USA.
That's sick.
All right, guys. I'll catch you. Have a great night, Dean, and enjoy the rest of the week and the rest of the summer, man. Milk it like a cow.
Yes, sir.
Congrats, Dean.
Peace.
Thank you.
Comments section, guys. Comments.